Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into an updated look at the college football AP poll hot off the presses for week number 8. We are going into week number 8. This is post week 7, just released. And Ohio State is sitting at number 1 with 50 first place votes. The Buckeyes gaining some first place votes from last week. Miami beat FSU. People were talking about them being the number 1 team. Now FSU loses again. They're 3-3. That Miami wins becomes a little bit more devalued. The Ohio State win against Texas gets more elevated with Texas's win over Oklahoma. I haven't looked at it fully yet, but I'm sure Texas is ranked this week, so that'll be a ranked win for them. Ohio State also beating Illinois on the road. A little bit of an uneasy performance, especially the rushing game for the Buckeyes. Seemingly a little bit rough. I mean, we'll see if it improves, but Ohio State does have a very easy schedule because of how bad Penn State is. That was going to be a huge game. The Buckeyes hosting the Nittany Lions in a few weeks. Now Ohio State's only ranked game remaining will be the last game of the season. If Michigan is even ranked, we'll have to see, but we know that's a tough game for Ohio State for other reasons. Either way, Ohio State is number 1, and it's like Ohio State, Indiana collision course in the Big Ten championship. That's what everyone is talking about. You have Miami at number 2. They had their second bye week already. So Miami's had 2 bye weeks this early on in the season. All these other teams have played 6 games. Miami's only played 5 games. They have Louisville on Friday night this upcoming week. Miami is another team everyone expects to make the playoff. They have some key wins. People talk about, well, they beat Florida, but Florida's not very good. They lost again to Texas A&M. And Miami also beat FSU, but FSU lost. Miami also beat Notre Dame. Notre Dame looks really good. Miami also beat South Florida. South Florida now a team that's ranked, and they beat North Texas very easily in a higher scoring game. So Miami, they do have quality wins, and we'll see with them. Now they've got Louisville, who's another, what are they, a 4-1, 5-1 team. So we'll have to see with them. You've got Indiana moving up 4 spots. A lot of people saying Indiana should be number 2. They should be number 1. They move up to number 3. They get 3 first place votes. Big win. Big win on the road. Very good defensive performance. Oregon, you got to start wondering a little bit about them because their huge win against Penn State is becoming devalued significantly. I would say with Indiana, it's a wait and see approach. I mean, they did go on the road in Eugene. We have to give them credit. But even the win like at Iowa, they won that game by 5 points. I mean, Indiana, listen, I want to see them beat Ohio State. They're going to face Ohio State very likely in the Big Ten championship game, and we'll see. But Indiana looks very good right now. And at this point, I would say they're a virtual lock to make the playoff unless something goes way wrong for them. So they're at number 3. You've got Texas A&M at number 4. They easily won against Florida. They covered the 7-point spread, and they're 6-0. So to me, I'm not a huge believer in Texas A&M, but I understand they're undefeated. They're in the SEC, so they're going to be ranked high. Ole Miss is also undefeated in the SEC at 6-0. However, they almost lost to Washington State. They beat Washington State by 3 points. They were 32.5-point favorites. So Ole Miss down to number 5, and now we enter this SEC gauntlet. And what tends to happen here is, if Ole Miss loses to another SEC team, it's a quality loss. They're not going to really be dinged for it. But I think people have to understand, only beating Washington State by 3 points, you can say they're looking ahead, all these excuses. 32-point favorites, you win by 3 points. That is very bad. Very, very bad. So no matter what you say about Ole Miss, that is a terrible, terrible performance against Washington State. And Washington State is not a good team. You've got Alabama at number 6. They beat Missouri. Very nice win for them. Even though, if you say 3-point win, Alabama was in control of that game. Start of the second half, they had a turnover right at the start of it. Basically gave Missouri a free touchdown. Changed the entire complexion of the game. Bama's defense looked good. You'll take the victory. Right now, Bama's sitting at 5-1. They already have the road win at Georgia. The one loss to FSU doesn't look good, but it's also week 1. I don't disregard it. I mean, it matters, but week 1 needs context. So Bama at 5-1, they're the first team with a loss, to be ranked this high. Or I guess they're the highest loss. They're the highest ranked 1-loss team is what I wanted to say. Texas Tech at number 7. They continue to blow everyone out. They cover another spread. They're dealing with a quarterback injury. Morton has been out. Their backup quarterback, Will Hammond, people love him. I don't know, man. I don't know about Texas Tech. I think they might lose 1 or 2 games, honestly, in the regular season, but they look good right now. You've got Oregon down 5 spots to number 8. Look, you could argue, See, the thing is, Oregon analytically is very good, but that win against Penn State, how do you weigh that? They go on the road into Happy Valley, very tough environment. At the time, Penn State was a top 5 team. I think they were ranked like number 3, and Oregon beats them. They were in control of that game. Penn State comes back. Now Penn State is potentially going to be 5-7. Like, they might miss a bowl. So that win, it's like you want to value that win, and I do value that win more than other people. People be like, well, it's a bad win. Now, that's really not how because Penn State was a fundamentally different team when they faced Oregon. They were. I mean, they're obviously unraveling now, and now with Aller being out for the year. But I do give Oregon some serious credit for going into Happy Valley and a whiteout and winning that game. However, I know people will be like, well, that's not a good win, and they just lost at home to Indiana. They should be lower. But the other thing is they do have very good analytics. They've been blowing teams out. So them being number 8, it doesn't really surprise me. Georgia at number 9, they beat Auburn on the road. Auburn was about to go up 17-0 at the end of the first half in that game. On a QB sneak at the goal line, they fumble. People talking about the refs being terrible again in another Auburn game. Yeah, I don't think this is a great Georgia team at all. I mean, to me, this is just what the SEC is. These teams, they're all solid, but there's no one that's, ultimately great. You've got LSU at number 10. They beat South Carolina 20-10. I am not impressed at all with LSU's offense in general, not just the running game. Nussmeier, the passing attack has been very underwhelming. Everyone talks about how great they've got an amazing defense. All right, sure. But I'm not buying LSU. Tennessee at number 11, they barely beat Arkansas by 3 points. I mean, you get the win, but 3-point win at home in a game you're 12-point favorites is not too good. Georgia Tech at number 12, 6-0. They did cover against Virginia Tech. Very nice passing performance by Haynes King. Very nice. Notre Dame up 3 spots. They crushed NC State. Another cover for them. They only allowed 7 points. The defense is getting better for the Irish. And they've got a huge game against USC. USC just beat Michigan. They're going to be ranked, I'm sure. And now they face Notre Dame on the road. Notre Dame needs to win this game. Notre Dame goes 10-2. I think they're going to be in. Looking at all these other teams, looking at how the SEC is going to cannibalize itself, they go 10-2. They're going to be in. And they got to hope that USC wins out. Oklahoma down to number 14. They drop 8 spots after losing to Texas 23-6. Texas' defense finally showed up. I'll talk about Texas whenever I see them when they're ranked, but in a second, Oklahoma does not have the offensive skill position talent to make the playoff, to win the SEC, or to even make the SEC championship. This is just the reality of it. Whether or not you want to say, well, Mateer was still injured, it doesn't matter. They do not have the running game. They do not have the threatening receivers on the outside. And that's really the problem for Oklahoma. They are not explosive enough on offense to beat a team like Texas. Well, you know what? I think Oklahoma could beat a team like Texas, but just in general, like, you know what I'm saying? To where sustainability of beating all these teams that you need to beat. Oklahoma's schedule is brutal. They're probably going to finish 8-4, honestly. Maybe 9-3. Maybe they finish 9-3. Look at John Mateer. John Mateer's season numbers now, 6 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. They just don't have the skill position talent, Oklahoma. And you can say that's a Venables issue because he's a defensive coach. But this is a fringe top 25 team probably by the end of the year. They're at number 14 right now. You've got BYU at number 15. Very good win for them. Very good win for the Big 12. They needed BYU to stay undefeated if they want to have any chance at getting 2 teams in the playoff. They also needed Utah to win that game that they won. But BYU, what did they beat Arizona in overtime? It was a game I thought they were going to lose. It looked like they were going to lose. They end up winning 33-27. Missouri down 2 spots. Yeah, I'm not a huge believer in Missouri. I mean, this is like a weird thing with the national media and how much they love Missouri. And I get it's like, well, they only lost by 3 points. Okay. Alabama was in control of that game. There was a fluky turnover to start the second half. It gave Missouri a free 7 points. I mean, like, let's be honest about it. I just don't think Missouri is very good. I don't think Missouri has played really anyone outside of Alabama. They haven't had a single road game yet this year. That doesn't even get talked about. Like, how have you not played a road game? It's October 12th. But I don't know. You've got Vanderbilt moving up 3 spots to number 17. I'm not a big fan of Vanderbilt either, honestly. But It's just they're up 3 spots. You've got Virginia moving up 1 spot, South Florida moving up 5 spots, and then you have got these ads are just so annoying. South Florida moves up 5 spots. They beat North Texas. You know, they have one loss. It's to Miami. It's a bad loss, though. They lost by like 35 points. But, I mean, losing to Miami, I guess, it's a good team. But South Florida at 5-1. Not a great defense, but good offensive performance against North Texas. USC at number 20. So USC is set up in a very interesting spot. USC has a really tough schedule. I was looking at it. They've got this next week, they've got at Notre Dame. So that's a crippling game because it's non-conference. Then you have at Nebraska and at Oregon. At Notre Dame, at Nebraska, at Oregon. In the final 6 games, that's brutal. That is brutal. And I think they have Iowa as well, which is a decent team. So if the Big Ten wants 4 teams in the playoff, USC has to beat Notre Dame. If USC can beat Notre Dame, they can have a mulligan. They finish 10-2 with wins against Michigan and at Notre Dame. They're going to make the playoff at 10-2. Then you lose at the end of the season, because at this point you still have one loss. But if you get your second loss, you still have a road game at Nebraska and at Oregon. You're probably going to get a third loss. You're probably going to lose to Oregon. On the road, they're not going to be favorites in that game. They have to somehow beat Notre Dame. If they lose to Notre Dame, I don't see them making the playoff because they're going to finish 9-3 or 8-4. Texas at 21. Texas, we'll see with Texas. They've got to, this is the thing. This is why I just don't understand. That game against Florida, it's just specifically the defensive performance against Florida will never make sense to me. Texas's defense against Florida, how is that possible? How did they lay an egg where they allowed like 2 straight touchdowns to start the game against that Florida offense? Seriously? But Texas comes back and smothers Oklahoma. They've got a great defense outside of that Florida game. And now Texas, they have 2 losses. They can't lose again. They've got a manageable schedule, but I think they're probably going to finish 9-3 if I had to guess, and they're not going to make it, but they're still a quality team. But I will be honest, like Texas's offense still looks bad. They still cannot generate big plays. Like Arch Manning's numbers were nothing special. That was a defensive performance against Oklahoma. And also an Oklahoma team that's susceptible to scoring only 6 points because of the lack of overall skill position talent that they're dealt with. So I'm not surprised that Texas, people might say, well, why is Texas, at 21, Oklahoma's at 14. Oklahoma has 1 loss. Texas has 2 losses. And Texas has a bad loss at Florida. So I could understand Oklahoma being in front of Texas. You can say it doesn't make sense. Well, one team has more losses than the other. We've got Memphis moving up 1 spot. So Memphis stays ranked. They're a group of 5 team. It's like Memphis, South Florida. Who's going to get the group of 5 at-large bid? I guess we'll see. You've got Utah entering the top 25, I believe. Cincinnati and Nebraska. So Nebraska enters the top 25 as well. So Michigan is out of the top 25 after their second loss. Illinois is also out. However, Illinois is the first team out looking in, so they'd be number 26. Michigan would be number 27. Michigan faces Washington this week, and it's an unranked matchup. You're kidding. Because I was planning on predicting that game. But it's unranked now. UNLV, Navy, Mississippi State, Tulane, San Diego State. So Nebraska has a manageable schedule. I think, and I know Nebraska fans are not going to want to hear this. If they go 10-2, I think they're probably going to miss the playoff. But I'd have to look at their schedule again. Just the schedule is so bad. Now you could say, well, they beat Cincinnati. They're going to need Cincinnati to keep winning. I don't think Cincinnati's going to keep winning. But Nebraska will try and brag about their win over Cincinnati in week 1. Yeah, but Cincinnati's going to start losing a lot. This is how the Big 12 is. It's a mosh pit. They're all going to beat each other. Cincinnati's probably going to end the season with 3 or 4 losses. Where are they going to be ranked then? They're not going to be ranked. Nebraska has such an easy schedule, man. It's insane. Yeah, they have the loss to Michigan as well. But the thing is, if Nebraska, I think the only semi-tough game they have is versus USC. Honestly, Nebraska. If they go 10-2, we're gonna have to pull they're not making it, man. I'm sorry. I know they're a Big Ten team. I get it. But if you look at their schedule, you got to beat somebody, or you at least got to go like 11-1. Like, I'm sorry. Maybe I'm missing someone. Maybe they did face a tough team. But if you look at their schedule and their wins, maybe they will be bragging about the Cincinnati victory. I don't know. But it's a really bad schedule. Like a really bad schedule. But either way, that's basically it. And that's the top 25. I would say this year, I mean, all of these teams have some flaws. It's just the nature of college football in 2025, the transfer portal evening out talent. There's just a better talent distribution, NIL, all that stuff. All these teams have flaws. All of them can be beaten. You're not looking at a super team or anything like that. I know Ohio State has kind of separated themselves, at least in the FPI. They're like 3 points better than Indiana. You know, Indiana's the number 2 team in the ESPN FPI now. How crazy is that? Ohio State's number 1. 2 Big Ten teams inside the top 2. Of course, the Big Ten has no depth, and it's allowing Ohio State and Indiana. You look at the next few games for Ohio State and Indiana, they're going to be 20-point favorites in every single game. There's just no depth to this conference, which is why people are talking about Nebraska making the playoff or maybe USC making the playoff. But I think USC is actually a good team. Like, USC goes to Nebraska, that's going to be a big game. But it'll be a big game if USC can beat Notre Dame. If USC loses to Notre Dame, they would have to win out. Because, you know, if they lose to Notre Dame, they've got 2 losses. They've already got the loss to Illinois. They beat Michigan. Now, you know, Michigan faces Washington. That'll be a game to see who gets ranked. The winner of that game will be ranked for sure. Michigan and Washington. Michigan could get back into the top 25. I think Michigan's they're gonna have to fire Moore. He was always a stopgap coach. You know, when Michigan got caught cheating like 3 years ago, they couldn't really perform an actual coaching search because there were so many unknowns about them, possibly having some type of sanctions or bowl ban or vacated wins, whatever it would have been, scholarship reduction. And so they couldn't perform an actual coaching search. But now that all of that is behind them, they're going to fire more. I would say at the end of the season, unless they somehow turn this around. Michigan cannot be happy with their current... I don't know. They are starting a true freshman, so you kind of expect this. Like, you kind of expect them to go 8-4 this year. I expected them to be like 8-4, maybe 9-3 at the best. But I know their fans are not happy. But I don't think Moore... I mean, maybe they stick with Moore. I'd have to see his buyout. But and then you've got Penn State. Oh, Penn State lost again. Drew Aller out for the year. I mean, it's just terrible for Penn State. They're going to miss a bowl game. They're probably going to go 5-7. They may go 4-8. I don't know. But either way, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Make sure you like the video down below. Also follow me on X. Link to that's always in the description.